That's adorable.
I researched it and get a picture of the parent.
You definitely have to do that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's adorable. I would never have that.
Two rows
You want to move over a little? Start? Is everybody happy? Please be seated. I don't think so. Maybe over there. Good morning. My name is Glenn Berger, and I am the chair of the Vermont Law and Graduate School Board of Trustees. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome everyone here on this beautiful morning in Vermont to Vermont's Law and Graduate School 47th Commencement. It is my pleasure to introduce members of the Board of Trustees who are seated here on the platform in the first row. They are an extremely dedicated and hardworking group who take seriously their responsibilities for the governance and direction of the school, and they are pleased to be present today as part of the Vermont Law and Graduate School community. Please give a hand for the trustees. Seated behind the trustees are the members of our faculty. Please join me in thanking this outstanding company of educators and scholars whose successful labors bear fruit today. I would also like to thank the hardworking staff, for we wouldn't be where we are today without them. Please give a hand to the faculty and the staff. I would like to recognize a few very important people here today. And the first is Ann Debevoise. I don't know where Ann is seated. Ann's husband, Tom, was one of the first deans of Vermont Law School, serving from 1974 to 1982. He was my dean. Tom was instrumental in making the school a reality, and Ann and the Debevoise family continues to serve the law school in many, many ways. Ann is a trustee emerita, and some of her children as trustees as well. The family has really helped create this institution, and we owe so much to her and to the family. And again, I'd just like to give her a round of applause. I'd also like to recognize Scott Cameron, who's in the audience with Ann. Please stand. Scott is a JD class of 1980 and served as chair of the Board of Trustees from 2000 to 2010, and is currently a trustee emeritus and is still very active in working with the board and the school. So again, thank you, Scott. Before I introduce the class speaker, I would like to address the graduating class. Today is a very significant milestone in your life and careers, and one I know wherever you end up, you will look back on with a great deal of fondness and happy memories. As I am sure you have already realized, Vermont Law and Graduate School is, and always has been, a unique place to go to school. I, too, am a VLS graduate, class of 1978, the third graduating class. Way back then, VLS was not what it is today. There was no Cornell Library, no Chase Center, no legal clinic, no food service, no fitness center, and on occasion, not even enough desks to go around. But like today, VLS had already adopted the values of community, entrepreneurship, and individualism. And being located in Soro made it a very special place for me and my classmates. Since graduation, I have always been proud to say I attended VLS because it gave me a great education and an alternative experience from most other law schools. You too should be proud of the fact that after all the hard work you have done and your ability to navigate the unusual circumstances of going to school during a pandemic, circumstances that no one could have predicted, you are now graduating from VLGS. As a trustee for many years, I have attended numerous VLS, now VLGS graduations, and I've always been struck by how happy and excited everyone is. Parents, grandparents, spouses, friends, children, faculty, staff, trustees, and of course, graduates, and today is no different. With all that in mind, may I be the first to offer you and your families, on behalf of myself and the 23 hardworking members of the Board of Trustees, a heartfelt congratulations on being the first class to graduate from the Vermont Law and Graduate School. You did it, and I wish you good luck and all the best in your future endeavors. Finally, I would like all of us to share a moment of silence to remember those members of our community who have passed this year and whose presence is sorely missed. Now I am pleased to introduce Kai DeAndre Hardy, who has been... Kai has been elected by his classmates to speak on their behalf. Kai is known to his classmates as a quiet, soft-spoken leader. He is someone who listens more than he speaks. When he does speak, he commands respect. When he does speak, it is... When he does speak, it is in the service of building community. Academically, he participated in the animal law moot court competition in which he, with his partner, Morgan Zielinski, won Best Brief of the competition. Kai is committed to protecting the natural world, including the protection of animals. Outside of academics, he has worked throughout his time as a student in jobs both on and off campus. He has been active in the Christian Law Fellowship, is a lover of basketball, and has led community bonfires to facilitate community gatherings. Kai received a Maryland Sea Grant Legal Fellowship, which he will be starting after graduation. Now, please join me in welcoming Kai DeAndre Hardy.
Thank you for the introduction, President Smala, and thank you all for being here. It's just a wonderful time to get to celebrate with you all. So on behalf of the graduating class of 2023, I'm excited to welcome you all to Vermont Law and Graduate School. There's no better place to be than Vermont in the springtime, and we are grateful for the opportunity to get to spend this weekend with you all. Parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, and mentors. The people who made it possible for us to endure perhaps the 6 most challenging but rewarding semesters of our academic careers. So I'd like to say thank you all for making the trip out to lovely Vermont to celebrate this weekend with us. In class of 2023, I am so grateful to you all for the opportunity to speak on your behalf today. Thank you all to the faculty and staff here at VLGS, to the library team. Thank you for providing the materials we needed for academic success. Thank you to the cafe team for putting up with our barrage of food orders each and every day, cleaning up after us, and going above and beyond to make the tastiest food that provided nourishment as we went about our long days. Thank you to the IT team, the career services, as well as the academic success program for putting us in the best position to thrive. Thank you, professors, for giving us a strong educational foundation on which we can continue to grow in our practice of law and/or policy, and for making our class experience both engaging and challenging. Thank you for pushing us beyond what we thought were our limits, and for helping us believe we actually could make it through your cold calls in one piece. Thank you for helping us realize our full potential as attorneys, advocates, and leaders. And finally, thank you to the class of 2023. Fellow Swans, these past 6 semesters here at VLGS have been an adventure filled with both excitement as well as challenges. Together, we endured a pandemic that threatened to isolate us from each other. But as fellow Swans, we didn't just hang our heads or throw up our hands. Instead, we stayed in touch, checked in on each other, and got through it. Together, we grieved when tragedy struck our flock. When we lost a swan, we didn't just ignore it and pretend it didn't happen. No. Instead, we mourned together, reflected together, prayed together, healed together, remembered together, and are continuing to remember together. Tommy, we love you, we miss you, and we just appreciate everything you contributed to this school and your friendship to all of us. This law and graduate school is unique. It's special. It's not adversarial. Instead, it's cooperative. It has been an honor and a privilege to be a part of such a tight-knit group of students who have made this quaint, charming Vermont village feel like home for the past 6 semesters. Thank you to the town of Royalton for welcoming us in and putting up with the mass takeover of out-of-staters, or as you guys might call us, flatlanders. We will miss all the Kent's Ledge hikes, tubing trips down the White River, fun nights at Crossroads, and spectacular fall leaf displays. Whether we leave or stay, this village will always be a place we call home. Wherever we go from here, we will always be swans. Swans are large birds and will put themselves at risk to boldly defend their families. No, a swan won't stand to see its loved ones pushed around. However, swans are also elegant, beautiful, and majestic. This unique combination of strength and beauty has inspired numerous cultures throughout history. So let's always embody these traits, because even after we walk across this stage today, we will always be swans. So let's never forget our identity, class of 2023. Friends, are we ready to go out into the world and fight like swans? Love to hear it, love to hear it. So are we ready to fight for the oppressed, but with elegance and gentleness? Are we ready to fight for the criminal defendant, Are we ready to speak for the trees and maybe, just maybe, make the Lorax proud? Are we ready to go change the world together? We can do it. The words of Anne Frank still ring true even 80 years after they were written. She said, "How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment to improve the world." So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Thank you, and I love you all.
We will now confer a posthumous degree on Tommy Fennell. I invite Dean Beth McCormick to present the degree to the members of Tommy's family who are present today.
On Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, the Vermont Law and Graduate School community changed forever when we suddenly lost class of 2023 Juris Doctor and Master of Energy Regulation and Law student Thomas Fennell. Tommy was a devoted student, a warrior for the environment, and a champion for a clean energy future. Most of all, he was a kind and compassionate classmate and friend. He was interested in a career in international energy law and policy and had a particular curiosity for Latin American energy policy. Professor Jimenez remarked about Tommy's humility, his love of writing, and his ability to tie up loose ends in the classroom to make close connections in a short period of time. Professor Veselin told me about his ability to take intellectual risks and laugh at himself. Professor Jones noted that Tommy displayed an ability to see connections between different topics and to unpack the complexities of energy law. He described Tommy's work on a complicated project, noting that as teachers, we want to see the light come on in our students, that moment where their interests are matched by their abilities, because that is when they see what they can accomplish. Tommy was doing that, and he was doing it while simultaneously lifting his classmates and his research team. Many of the members of this class knew him as a teaching assistant, a leader in the Environmental Law Society, a basketball teammate, or someone to play pool or float down the White River with. When we gathered as a community to grieve in the days following his passing, we promised to hold Tommy's memory and his family and friends in our hearts that day and beyond. You, class of 2023, stood with me and promised to honor Tommy as you advocate for climate justice, when you cheer on UCLA, or when you read a book by the river. Today, as we award Tommy's family these posthumous degrees, we have a chance to renew that commitment and to let Tommy's family here today know that we are keeping that promise. And when we hear the whistle of the train later this morning, we will try to bear that moment of silence, not as a painful reminder, but as an opportunity to call to mind a time that Tommy made us laugh, a quality about him we loved, or a way we can honor his legacy. In that moment, and in this class of 2023, we embrace the Fennell and Vitali families and show them that swans fly together. I would now like to invite Rich Fennell on stage to receive Tommy's degree of Juris Doctor and the degree of Master of Energy Regulation and Law, and I would like to invite Chair Berger and Trustee Patrick Kennedy to the podium.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Vermont Law and Graduate School, I hereby confer upon Thomas Fennell the degree of Juris Doctor and the degree of Master of Energy Regulations and Law. It is now my pleasure to introduce Rod Smola, President of Vermont Law and Graduate School.
We will now present awards to members of the graduating class and to members of the Vermont Law and Graduate School community. The first award we will present is the Judge Learned Hand Award. For the many of you who are not lawyers, Judge Learned Hand was one of the most famous judges in American history. I remember as a law student reading his opinions and asking myself, is that really the dude's name, Learned Hand? Or do they just call him that because he's so smart? But it turns out that is his name, and one of his fellow judges had a distinguished connection to this school. The Honorable Stary Waterman, the second chair of the Board of Trustees, served on the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit with Judge Hand, and this award is established in Judge Hand's honor, not surprisingly, to honor the student with the highest grade point average upon graduation. I suppose that makes this person our most learned student. The recipient of this year's award is James Bryan. Please join me, James. James graduated with a grade point average of 3.97. What's going on, James? You couldn't do the other 3 points of a... Numbers matter, but numbers are not the entire story, and James, in your case, they certainly do not tell the story. Consider with me the many other accomplishments of James during his time here. He served for 2 years as one of the student members of the Board of Trustees, where he acquitted himself as a deeply thoughtful and energetically involved trustee advocating on behalf of his fellow students. As president, I often personally benefited from his perspectives and counsel as a trustee. He was an environmental mission scholar. He served on the Vermont Law Review as staff editor and head notes editor. He won the American Jurisprudence Award. This goes to the student with the highest grade in a class for the courses Appellate Advocacy, Civil Procedure 1, Civil Procedure 2, Evidence, Constitutional Law, Contracts, Criminal Law, Legal Writing 2, Legislation and Regulation, Property, Torts, and Corporations. Again, I got to ask you, James, is that the best you could do? In the 2022 Debevoise Intramural Moot Court competition, he was a finalist before the Vermont Supreme Court, and he won the Best Brief Award. Aside from these accomplishments, as your fellow students know, as the faculty members know, as the trustees know, you're actually a really nice guy. I don't know if Learned was a nice guy, but you are. You radiate positivity with a kind and encouraging word, and you always go above and beyond to help others. You've served on the Moot Court Advisory Board. You've mentored other students as a teaching assistant and an academic success mentor. James, by the way, has spent time in China. He's proficient in Chinese. He has family here from Montana and from Michigan, and after graduation, he will be clerking for the Honorable Mike McGrath, Chief Justice of the Montana Supreme Court. Please join me in congratulating James Bryan. The next award is named in honor of the much-loved and esteemed former dean, Maximilian Kempner, Max Kempner. It was established by the Board of Trustees to honor Max on the occasion of his retirement as dean. It recognizes the graduating student who, by personal example through their law school career, exemplifies the attributes demonstrated by Max: competence, integrity, respect, fair-mindedness, and public service. This year's recipient of the Kempner Award is Amanda Suzanne DeDeal. A major part of law is leadership. This country and democracies around the world dedicated to the rule of law are dependent upon lawyers and other leaders who participate as citizens in the community. Amanda has been an exceptional citizen law student at Vermont Law and Graduate School. She served as editor-in-chief of the Vermont Journal for Environmental Law. She served as the town liaison between South Royalton and the Student Bar Association. And Amanda, you should feel great that so many of our neighbors here are here to witness this beautiful, beautiful day. She served as a teaching assistant in property, income tax, estates, appellate advocacy. Amanda came to the Vermont Law and Graduate School after witnessing the increased wildfires and drought while growing up in the great agricultural state of Idaho. She came here with the goal of helping to foster a cultural transition to more sustainable living and production methods. While here, her passion for protecting the environment has grown and flourished. Amanda brings with her a firm but kind presence to discussions about interpersonal issues and mental health challenges, and brings restorative justice practices into her work, demonstrating equanimity far beyond her years. She is truly an exemplar of all this school has stood for in the last 50 years. Please join me in congratulating Amanda as the 2023 recipient of the Max Kempner Award. It is now my honor to introduce Megan Muncy, the president of the Vermont Law and Graduate School Alumni Association. Megan, please join me. Megan earned her Juris Doctor from Vermont Law School in 2005 and currently serves as president of the Vermont Law and Graduate School Alumni Association. She has worked as a senior consultant in appeals and litigation for Sun Life Financial since 2007, focusing on employee benefits. Megan also serves as board president for Woman Aid of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, is a former member of the Girls on the Run New Hampshire Board of Directors and the steering committee for the New Hampshire Bar Association's Leadership Academy. Welcome, Megan.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today. Please allow me to be the first to welcome you, the class of 2023, to the VLGS alumni family. We are excited to have you. I want to extend a hearty congratulations to each and every one of you. As you've likely discovered, the study of law and policy is not for the faint of heart. So cheers to all of you on this truly monumental accomplishment. The Lex Pro Urbe et Orbe Award was created by the Alumni Association in recognition of the many contributions that students make within the campus community. The award is given annually to a graduate who is selected by the VLGSAA Board of Directors in honor of the individual's thoughtful interest in and dedication to enriching the greater VLGS community. We had a tremendous slate of candidates this year, and I hope I get to meet some of you later at the reception. I can't emphasize enough how heartening it is as an alum to read through the thoughtful applications that we receive each year, highlighting the genuinely exceptional students and their impact on this uniquely special community. Resilience, perseverance, fortitude, and the very definition of leading by example are just a few traits that describe this year's recipient, who was nominated by 3 different individuals. In recent memory, there has been no candidate who has so wholly embodied the true spirit of this award and whose time here, while short, has been so deeply impactful. We were incredibly inspired by this individual's strength of character and their remarkable dedication to the greater South Royalton community. Please allow me to share a few excerpts from one of those nominations. Enriching the lives of those in the school community and communities of the Upper Valley perfectly describe this person. He was elected by his peers to represent his AJD cohort as an SBA senator, and during that tenure, he served on the Town Relations Committee, the Student Activities Committee, and the Sexual Misconduct Board. Investing himself in community and committing himself to whatever he decides to undertake is nothing new to him. Before deciding to pursue a legal career, he was a Division I college baseball player and is an equally talented semi-pro basketball player. I kind of need confirmation of that. As captain of the basketball club, he's grown the group into more than just pickup games, as reflected in the robust participation under his leadership. He organized tournaments with other law schools, partnered with VLGS student groups to turn those into charity fundraisers, including one to support extracurricular activities at the Sharon Academy, our local middle and high school. The same Sharon Academy where he served as the boys' basketball coach and has spent considerable time coaching and mentoring both on and off the court. He rounded out his VLGS experience as a full-time clinician at the South Royalton Legal Clinic, working on the Veterans Legal Assistance Project. Professor Brown closed her remarks by relating how the devastating personal tragedy of losing his friend and roommate, Tommy Fennell, reinforced his commitment to forging meaningful relationships with other members of the VLGS community and doing whatever he could to make the VLGS and surrounding communities better for having been a part of them. In just 2 short years, he is assuredly leaving this community better than he found it, and he has undoubtedly enriched the lives of countless individuals within the school community and beyond. I am incredibly honored to present the 2023 Lex Pro Urbe et Orbe Award to Benny Montenegro.
Upon the retirement of President and Dean Jeff Shields in 2012, a group of trustees and donors established a fund to honor Jeff and his wife Jeannie's commitment to the school. The Jeff and Jeannie Shields Prize was created as an annual award that is given to a member of the community who has made a unique contribution to the culture of philanthropy at Vermont Law and Graduate School. When it comes to demonstrating ingenuity and encouraging others to financially support our beloved school, Jackie Brilling rises to the forefront. Jackie, will you join me, please? A proud alumna from the class of 1979, Jackie is an ardent supporter of the Vermont Law and Graduate School. Between leading alumni webinars, hosting events in the greater Albany area, connecting with current and prospective students, and so much more, Jackie consistently shares her time, energy, and talents with the community. Her greatest impact, however, has come through her philanthropic support and advocacy. Always leading by example, she sets the tone for others. As an active member of the Alumni Association Board of Directors and longtime chair of its development committee, Jackie has been instrumental in ensuring a 100% giving rate among that group year after year. Under her tutelage, the Alumni Association Board has also implemented an annual peer-to-peer outreach effort that encourages Swans to give back to the school. This initiative has a direct impact on increasing the overall alumni giving rate. She and her husband, Michael, belong to two of the school's giving societies, the Leaders School and the President's Society. Along with two classmates, she has also established a scholarship fund to support current students. It's impossible to describe the profound impact she's had on the school. She will undoubtedly, for decades to come, be able to look back and see the benefits she has bestowed upon it. It is my pleasure to award the 2023 Jeff and Jeannie Shields Prize to Jackie Brilling and to express to you, Jackie, our deepest gratitude. I now have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker, Justice Nancy Jeer Waples. Her story is truly an inspiration. The parents of Justice Waples, Cam Susie Jeer and Yi Roy Jeer, fled China during the Communist Revolution. They arrived first in Canada with nothing but their clothes. They knew no one in Canada. They did not speak the language. They made their way to Chinatown in Toronto, and that is where Justice Waples was born. The Jeer family wanted to emigrate to the United States. At that time in American history, however, our government imposed ethnic quotas on immigrants. At first, only Justice Waples' father was able to emigrate to the United States. And so for 4 years, the family was split, with her dad in New York and her mom and Justice Waples in Toronto. Eventually, however, Justice Waples and her mother were able to join their father in New York, where they created a family business, living together and earning a living in a small Chinese restaurant outside of New York City. Justice Waples herself did not learn to speak English until she was 9 years old. She became a citizen of the United States in 1977. She was, as you won't be surprised to hear, a strong student. She attended the beautiful College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, a place that I once taught for 8 years. And then she went to law school and attended St. John's University School of Law in New York. She then began her legal career, and she began it in working for one of the most prestigious and busy and famous prosecutor's office in the United States, working in the district attorney's office for the city of New York. In that role, she served both as a trial lawyer and as an appellate lawyer. And then, to Vermont's good fortune, she and her husband, both lawyers, moved to Vermont. She again, arriving here, became a prosecutor, this time for the federal government, working as an assistant United States attorney for the District of Vermont out of the Rutland office. Her spouse is still a United States attorney here in Vermont. Now, some of you may have heard the cliche that prosecutors are from Mars and defense lawyers are from Venus. But I'm here to tell you the cliche is not true. and certainly not true in Justice Waples' case. She can claim the entire solar system because she has been both a prosecutor and a defense lawyer. Or in the words of the great Joni Mitchell, she's seen the world from both sides now. After serving as a prosecutor, she worked in Burlington with the Hoff Curtis law firm doing criminal defense. And then again, to the good fortune of the people of Vermont, she was appointed to the Vermont Superior Court in 2014. And then, last year, Governor Phil Scott appointed Justice Waples to the Supreme Court of Vermont. She is the first woman of color to serve on the Vermont Supreme Court. I had the honor of introducing Justice Waples when she graced our presence by serving as our keynote speaker for the opening of this academic year, where she inspired us all, weaving together stories from her own legal experience, including stories of the great traditions of the practice of law. And as an old Chicago lawyer, I particularly loved your stories about Clarence Darrow. We're so happy that she is now completing the cycle and is here to help us commemorate the end of the academic year. It is my honor to present to you our commencement speaker, Vermont Supreme Court Justice Nancy Waples.
Thank you, President Smola. Always so eloquent and always so flattering in your introductions. I don't think there is anyone who I have never been more touched by when I've been introduced. So thank you again, President Smola. Dean McCormick, the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, staff, proud parents, family, friends, and of course, the class of 2023. It is an honor to be here with you at Vermont Law and Graduate School's 47th commencement ceremony, and I relish the opportunity to celebrate this extraordinary achievement with you all. It's my understanding that this summer, 50 years ago, students at Vermont Law School took their seats for the first time at the old South Royalton Schoolhouse, now Debevoise Hall. In the half-century since the school's founding, it has become a deeply endearing institution to the legal profession in this state. VLGS can boast 3 alumni on the current Vermont Supreme Court, a host of successful politicians, lawyers, and jurists, the first woman to serve as parliamentarian of the U.S. Senate, and the first woman to serve as Attorney General here in Vermont. Yeah, that's great. These achievements speak to the school's profound vitality and impact on the legal profession in our state. I have the utmost faith that you will uphold the examples of those who came before you and continue to embody the kind of caring, empathetic, intelligent, and hardworking values that have made Vermont Law and Graduate School such an inspiring institution. I don't have to remind you how arduous the process of becoming a lawyer is, from the application requirements to surviving 1L to taking the bar exam. The nature of this process proves that no one here today is a stranger to hard work. That said, I think it is important for all you graduates to take a moment to reflect on where you were a year ago, where you were 5 years ago, how far you've come, and the grit and determination you've shown to arriving here. While comparison is often described as a thief of joy, it can also be a marked illustrator of personal growth, and not just a source of, but a requirement for critical reflection. So please, for a moment, reflect back on just how big of an accomplishment you are celebrating today. Not merely your educational achievements, but your personal growth as human beings, as warm and welcoming Vermonters, and as attorneys committed to justice and the rule of law. But you haven't actually had the typical law school experience, have you? In fact, during the application process, I'm sure many of you wrestled with the prospect of beginning your legal education in a remote environment due to the pandemic. But you are brave, and you did begin your legal journeys in just that environment, attending remote classes, submitting assignments with Canvas or Moodle, and taking exams in circumstances that only added more stress to an already anxiety-ridden experience. Attaining your degrees under such circumstances demonstrates the lengths that each of you will go in achieving your dreams. I cannot wait to see how you apply these experiences to strengthen our profession, encourage its evolution into the 21st century, and bring both flexibility and empathy to your practice of law. I would be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to all the parents and families who supported, encouraged, and held you up during the COVID lockdown. I know how hard that was because I, too, am the proud parent of a child who graduated from law school this week. Like all of you, I marveled at the sheer strength my son displayed in having to get virtually through his 1L and his 2L year. Water. The profession is one of the oldest on the planet. Well, perhaps the second. Oh, you got that, good. Just for the water. Sorry. In the 6th century BC, Solon instituted a new Athenian constitution to replace the laws of Draco, which would govern the Greek metropolis until the end of the 5th century. The Chinese philosopher Confucius and his followers published a lengthy commentary on the interactions between moral philosophy and law in the Analects around 200 BC. One of the most widely studied works of Chinese philosophy for the last 2,000 years. You may even have read some cases from the King's Bench in England during your studies, which was a common law court established in the late 12th century. And indeed, in some instances, we still draw upon these ancient contributions to resolve disputes today. But unlike other professional commitments, this one will require you to shoulder unique responsibilities in upholding respect for the institution of law. And this is so because the institution of law, unlike other professions, is fundamentally ingrained into the social contract, sewn into the fabric of society itself. The sacrifice of certain rights in exchange for the societal constraints imposed by the state is a basic tenet of the social contract. For better or worse, lawyers are an integral part of this distillation, helping parties to navigate disputes in civil society as opposed to allowing for self-help as it would be in the state of nature. Because of this, the legal profession plays an outsized role, not only in governing under the social contract, but in directing society itself. Every attorney, including all of you here today, have a mandate to strengthen and protect our institutions. You may be asking yourself, how do I, a recent graduate, newly assimilated into the legal profession, undertake such a weighty responsibility? The simple answer is through your conduct as lawyers. It's no secret that our country is undergoing a crisis of conscience. The ideal of criticizing the argument instead of the person seems to have gone out with house calls. Instead, our national political discourse is filled with ad hominem attacks, misinformation, and a scorched earth approach to leadership where winning is the objective of any political movement. Change to policy and the betterment of everyone as a whole has taken a backseat to the us or them mentality, where the domination of the in-group to the exclusion of the out-group is the sole political aspiration. This has, unsurprisingly, begun to spill over into our court system, as some advocates, seeing the success of these tactics in the political arena, seek to employ them in the courtroom. These abrasive tactics and strategies have been these have been unwelcome in not only our court, Vermont courts, but as well as the state and federal judiciaries. I may have already said that. But that being said, I think it is important to speak with all of you about how your conduct as attorneys impacts the public faith in the law and your responsibilities as guardians of the legal profession and beyond advocating for your clients. As legal professionals, you have the power to shape the narrative and set the tone for how our society engages with the law. The law touches upon pretty much every aspect of society. You are entrusted with an awesome responsibility. I know as a trial judge how your conduct inside and outside the courtroom can either reinforce the public's faith in the legal system or erode it. It is your responsibility to be mindful of the consequences of your actions as an attorney, especially in the face of adversity. Remember that the pursuit of justice is not just about winning cases or advancing your own interests. It is about upholding the principles of fairness, equality, and the rule of law. In the legal world, civility is a necessary condition of professionalism, encompassing integrity, honesty, and respect for the legal process. This means treating every individual you encounter in your personal and professional life with dignity. It means refraining from personal attacks and underhanded tactics and adhering to the highest ethical standards. In a world where institutional confidence has enormously diminished, your commitment to these values will serve as a beacon of hope for those we serve, who continue to put their faith in the legal system. Civility, however, does not imply passivity or compromise on matters of principle. It does not mean submitting to disrespect, misconduct, or the infringement of fundamental rights. It does mean asserting your beliefs firmly and respectfully, engaging in robust debate while being true to the court and the judicial process. Civility demands the courage to challenge injustice and systemic inequalities, recognizing that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing endeavor that requires persistent dedication and unwavering integrity. This is not to say that you should back away from your ideals or be dissuaded from fighting for justice by the prospect of conflict. Indeed, our entire system, the adversarial system, is based in conflict, an orderly conflict that allows two parties to engage in a battle of rhetoric as the most expeditious way of arriving at the truth. And I think, President Smola, you recently had that experience, didn't you? I encourage you to all use the tools in your legal kit to protect both your clients' interests as well as your own. In your careers, you will undoubtedly encounter situations where it will seem like the easiest path forward will compromise your values, and that can be exceedingly tempting. but I urge you to stay true to your principles. Remember that mutual respect can go a long way in creating and maintaining connections, fostering understandings, and ultimately achieving better outcomes for your clients and society as a whole. But your responsibilities do not end there. Even beyond your interactions with your colleagues and the court, you have a duty to promote access to justice and equal treatment under the law. Many individuals face barriers in gaining access to the legal system, and even when they do, find it to be almost unnavigable without help. It is your responsibility to work towards making justice more accessible, inclusive, and equitable, not only for those whose missions align with your own, but for everyone. As Justice Sonia Sotomayor once remarked, it's not the heart that compels the conclusions in cases, it's the law. It is about advocating for the voiceless, defending the rights of the marginalized, and standing up against injustice. I encourage you to use your skills and knowledge to volunteer, provide pro bono services, engage in community outreach, and support organizations that strive to bridge this gap in access to justice. By doing so, you will not only make a positive impact on individual lives, but you will also contribute to the strength and integrity of our legal system. Be tenacious in your pursuit of knowledge and develop a curiosity which can never be satiated. The law is a dynamic field that is constantly evolving and as such demands constant learning and growth. Embrace the challenges and seize the opportunities for continuous learning. Stay curious, stay engaged, and stay committed to honing your skills. Seek mentorships and guidance from seasoned professionals and be open to new perspectives. Remember that your education does not end here today. It is just the beginning, and that the true mastery of the law is a lifelong journey. The more you learn, the better equipped you will be to employ your skills in improving your communities and the lives of those that live there. As you embark on this new chapter in your lives, I have full confidence in your abilities to become exceptional legal professionals who will shape the future of our society. You have already demonstrated resilience, dedication, and the capacity for hard work. Now carry those qualities forward and let them guide you as you navigate the complexities of the legal profession. As is tradition, I'd like to offer a few pieces of parting wisdom. First, reflect on the vastness of the legal profession and keep an open mind about where your career might take you. My own career has taken me a number of places I would likely have not thought to be in my future had you asked me on my own graduation day. I've had the pleasure of practicing both as a prosecutor and defense attorney in both the state and federal courts of New York and Vermont, and then the privilege of serving as a trial judge and now a justice. Part of your professional development will be discovering which aspects of the law enamor you from those which you'd rather keep your distance. Like courtship, the only way to find what's right for you is to put yourself out there and keep an open mind about the direction you want your legal career to move. Secondly, never underestimate the power of empathy. Behind every case, every dispute, every legal problem, there are real people whose lives are likely changed forever. Take this time to understand their stories, their fears, and their hopes. Treat each client, witness, and opposing counsel with respect and compassion. Remember that the law is not just about technicalities and rules, but about the pursuit of justice and the betterment of society. By embracing empathy, you will not only become a more effective advocate, but also a force for positive change in the lives of those you serve. Lastly, as you navigate your legal career, never lose sight of the bigger picture. The law is not just a profession, it is a calling. It means to effect positive change, to protect the vulnerable, and to uphold the principles upon which our society is built. Remember the ideals that brought you to this noble profession in the first place. Use your skills and knowledge to make a difference, to champion causes you believe in, and to be a voice for the voiceless. You have the power to make a difference. Embrace your roles as ambassadors of justice, defenders of truth, and champions of the rule of law. This world, our world, needs you, and I have no doubt you will rise to the occasion. And finally, my personal blessing to each of you today and every day. May you enjoy a life well lived in law through service, success, and satisfaction. My heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2023, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your celebration today.
Thank you, Your Honor. We know that you're a graduate of St. John's Law School and you're wearing a St. John's robe and hood. But we want you to henceforth always consider yourself a graduate of the Vermont Law and Graduate School. And to that end, the Board of Trustees and Chair Berger are conferring upon you today an honorary degree by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Vermont Law and Graduate School. I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, and I welcome you to all the honors, privileges, and obligations pertaining thereto. Thank you.
So now you have 4 justices on the Vermont Supreme Court.
We now have 4 justices. It is my pleasure to now present the second honorary degree of the day to Professor N. Bruce Dutu. Professor Dutu, will you please join me at the podium? We present this degree to you, Professor Dutu, for 3 reasons. First, to honor and pay tribute to your extraordinary contributions to advancing the rights of Indigenous citizens through your outstanding scholarship and advocacy in the field of Native American and Indigenous law and studies. Professor Dutu, you have for decades been among the nation's leading scholars and advocates of the rights of Native Americans, as evidenced by your book, Shadow Nations, Tribal Sovereignty and the Limits of Legal Pluralism, and your book, American Indians and the Law, and your contributions to the famous Felix S. Cohen Handbook of Federal Indian Law. Our friendly academic neighbor, Dartmouth College, has recognized your eminence in the field through Dartmouth's wise appointment of you as the Sansom Oldham Professor and Chair of Native American Studies and Indigenous Studies at Dartmouth. And Bruce, I'm going to take a second of reflection as the train passes by.
Right on cue.
Dean McCormick shared with you the poignancy and privacy of that moment. And Bruce, I suggest that in the wisdom of your own indigenous peoples, you can feel that spirit as we pass by. In addition to the accolades you've had bestowed upon you by Dartmouth, you've served on the faculties of the Harvard Law School, the Universities of Wollongong and Sydney in New South Wales, Australia, and the University of Trento in northern Italy. This degree also serves to honor you and thank you for your service to this school, Vermont Law and Graduate School. Before joining the faculty at Dartmouth, you were a professor of law here. You served as the law school's vice dean for academic affairs. You were the inaugural director of the Partnership in Environmental Law between Vermont Law School and Sun Yat-sen University in China. And finally, Bruce, we present this honorary degree to you in recognition and thanks for your leadership and assistance in designing and launching our efforts in the field of restorative justice. You were instrumental in shaping both our Master of Arts in Restorative Justice program and the foundation of our National Center on Restorative Justice. You designed and originally wrote the Restorative Justice Indigenous Communities efforts and served on the advisory council of our National Center. We thank you for sharing with us the wisdom of Indigenous communities as we may learn from and be inspired by that wisdom, enriching our understanding of the authentic meaning of the word restorative. Only yesterday, you delivered your honorary degree lecture to the Vermont Law and Graduate School community, in which you taught me and taught us a beautiful word from the Navajo language, hojo, which translates from Navajo into living in balance or walking in beauty. You have inspired generations of students here at Vermont Law and Graduate School, at Dartmouth, and around the world with your life. You are an exemplar of hojo. You are an example of walking in beauty. Therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Vermont Law and Graduate School, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, and I welcome you to all the honors, privileges, and obligations pertaining thereto. Thank you. Our final honorary degree today is presented posthumously to Professor Don Bauer, and I will ask his dear friend, Professor Tim Eichenberg, to please join me at the podium. Professor Eichenberg, thank you for joining us today to receive the posthumous honorary degree on behalf of your colleague and friend, Professor Don Bauer. Don Bauer, a legal advocate for animals, national parks, and the environment, served on the Vermont Law and Graduate School summer faculty for nearly 3 decades. The Oceans and Coastal Law class that Don and Tim taught together has long been one of the school's most popular courses. Don's distinguished career, including working in the Solicitor's Office of the Department of the Interior, serving as General Counsel of the United States Marine Mammal Commission, and most recently as partner in the law firm Perkins Coie in its renowned environmental practice. But for those of you here who aren't lawyers, but do watch movies, One of Don's accomplishments was forever memorialized in one of the great environmental movies of all time, Free Willy. He was Free Willy's lawyer. Willie, who preferred the name Keiko, was an orca featured in that famous Disney movie, and with Don's efforts was finally freed from the Oregon Coast Aquarium in 1998. You may remember that magnificent scene where his dorsal fin goes erect. Up until just days before he died, Don also worked tirelessly on behalf of another whale, Lolita, who had been held captive in the Miami Seaquarium in the smallest orca tank in the world for more than half a century, and who is now finally slated to be transferred to a seaside sanctuary in her home waters. Don genuinely loved Vermont Law and Graduate School and supported the school in whatever way he could, including championing the Animal Law and Policy Institute and the mentoring of many students over the years who admired him deeply. Tim, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Vermont Law and Graduate School, I hereby confer upon Donald C. Bauer, in memoriam, the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Congratulations. And now the moment you've been waiting for. I now ask all of the graduates to please stand. Chair Berger, on behalf of the faculty of the Vermont Law and Graduate School, I present to you all of these candidates graduating today. These include candidates for the degrees of Juris Doctor, joint degrees of Juris Doctor and Master of Environmental Law and Policy, Juris Doctor and Master of Energy Regulation and Law, Juris Doctor and Master of Food and Agricultural Law and Policy, Juris Doctor and Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, and our Masters in LLM degrees, Master of Environmental Law and Policy, Master of Energy Regulation and Law, Master of Food and Agricultural Law and Policy, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Master of Laws in Environmental Law, Master of Laws in Energy Law, Master of Laws in Food and Agricultural Law, and Master of Laws in American Legal Studies.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Vermont Law and Graduate School, I hereby confer upon you the degree or degrees listed after your name, and I welcome you all to the honors, privileges, and obligations pertaining thereto. Graduates, please be seated. We will now call your names in groups by degree. Please come to the platform to receive your diploma or diplomas as your name is read. Dean Brennan?
Thank you, Chair Berger. For the degrees of Juris Doctor and joint degrees, Julia Marie Alvarez Ramirez, Juris Doctor. Courtney Lynn Ayon, Juris Doctor. Sarah Chio Babcock, Juris Doctor. Jordan M. Barker, Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Mackenzie Bendis, Juris Doctor. Stephanie A. Bing, Juris Doctor. Aiden L. Black, Juris Doctor. James D. Bryan, Juris Doctor, summa cum laude. Olivia Grace Brooks, Juris Doctor. Harry Joe Buck, Juris Doctor, cum laude. Erica Michaela Calderon, Juris Doctor, cum laude, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction. Caitlin Rose Carroll, Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Clelia Kashola, Juris Doctor, summa cum laude. Brooke Elizabeth Catalano, Juris Doctor. Round of applause. Nathan Chankin, Juris Doctor. Brooke Shamora, Juris Doctor, cum laude. Monica Cooper, Juris Doctor, cum laude. Caitlin Cornior, Juris Doctor. Congratulations. Liam Datrice de la Blatier, Juris Doctor. Annesley Jean Davis, Juris Doctor. Emily Ann Davis, Juris Doctor, summa cum laude. Amanda Suzanne DiDio, Juris Doctor, cum laude. June Dietrich, Juris Doctor, cum laude. Alexandra Ellis, Juris Doctor, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction. Mercedes Simone Fagan, Juris Doctor. Mason Fagoti. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Vanessa Fetter, Juris Doctor, summa cum laude. Sarah Finley, Juris Doctor. James Patrick Flynn, Juris Doctor. Vaughn Ford Plotkin, Juris Doctor. Catherine Devon Abra Silver Frederick, Juris Doctor, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice. William Fusaro. Juris Doctor, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction. Madison Johnson Gaffney. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Luis Gonzalez. Juris Doctor, cum laude. Ben Gray. Juris Doctor, cum laude, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Zachary Irving Handelman. Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Kai DeAndre Hardy. Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Piper Gabriella Fitzpatrick Herod. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Grant R. Hart. Juris Doctor, Master of Energy Regulation and Law. Catherine Ashley Hatchell. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Emilia Hitchcock, Juris Doctor. Brian Patrick Holmes. Juris Doctor. Heidi Elizabeth Johnson. Juris Doctor, cum laude. Cynthia Irene Muthani Kane. Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Lynn Francis Keene, Juris Doctor. Brooke Keating. Juris Doctor. Tanya Suzanne Kendall, Juris Doctor. Shan Reza Khan, Juris Doctor. Rebecca Isabel Kimmel, Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Kira Kirkendall, Juris Doctor. Carly Elaine Lebrecq, Juris Doctor. Elsa Marie Larson, Juris Doctor. Natalie Laurie, Juris Doctor. Daniel Lee. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Sarah A. Lotman. Juris Doctor, cum laude, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Tommy Mandel. Juris Doctor, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction. Aaron McClelland. Juris Doctor, summa cum laude, Master of Energy Regulation and Law with distinction. Kevin McElfresh. Juris Doctor, Master of Energy Regulation and Law. Casey Elise McGowan. Juris Doctor, Master of Arts in Restorative Justice. Beckett McGowan. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Jack William Webb McGowan. Juris Doctor. Colleen Elise McGrath. Juris Doctor, cum laude. Kimberly Nicole Mitchell, Juris Doctor. Benjamin Paul Montenegro. Juris Doctor. Isabella Louise Montoya. Juris Doctor, Master of Energy Regulation and Law. Morgan Minster. Juris Doctor. Marisol Michelle Newton Padine. Juris Doctor. Stephanie Minji Nam. And Gigi. Juris Doctor, magna cum laude. Christina Mary O'Keefe, Juris Doctor. Robert J. Okoski II, Juris Doctor. David H.S. Olson. Juris Doctor. Sarah A. Pardee. Juris Doctor, Master of Energy Regulation and Law. Bobin Park. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Matthew Alexander Poole, Juris Doctor. Carolina Alexandra Rodriguez. Juris Doctor. Lindsay Michelle Rostrin. Juris Doctor. Sandra Santiago. Juris Doctor. Dominic Sarti. Juris Doctor. Caroline Ann von Leer Sesh. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Ronald Slavin. Juris Doctor. Darren Sloan. Juris Doctor. Juliana Page Slursberg. Juris Doctor. Caitlin B. Smith. Juris Doctor. Bailey Soderberg. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Jaden Christopher Spitali. Juris Doctor, cum laude. Casey Stewart. Juris Doctor. Mary Sutmeyer, Juris Doctor. Patrick Sweeney. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Stephanie Tejada. Juris Doctor. Madeline Thomas. Juris Doctor, cum laude, Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Nicholas Tonti. Juris Doctor. Bobby R. Turner, Jr. Juris Doctor, Master of Energy Regulation and Law with distinction. Rajiv Venkat. Juris Doctor, cum laude. Jason R. Ward. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Adam Lee Washburn. Juris Doctor, Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Talon Wendell. Juris Doctor. Kalina Lucille Irene Voitalia. Juris Doctor. Elizabeth Yosef. Juris Doctor. Morgan Zielinski. Juris Doctor, cum laude. Nathaniel Barham. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Lindsay F. Bogan II. Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Jamie Marie Colby. Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Uzma Dahar. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Marlena Fox Furness. Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Brianne L. Frank. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Emma Lauren Griffin. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Campfield Heinrich. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Juchi Zhao. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Catherine Pierce Mallory. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Brian Maxim. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Ashley Caroline Nunes. Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Brianne Pinnery. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Robert Lawrence Pinsono. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Haley Anna Reifes. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Kylie Schmitz. Master of Environmental Law and Policy. Kathleen Marie Washenko. Master of Environmental Law and Policy with distinction. Michelle Eisenhower Hanlon. Master of Energy Regulation and Law, April A. Larkin. Master of Energy Regulation and Law with distinction, Kim Maschke. Master of Energy Regulation and Law with distinction, Emma Bliss. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy, Carissa Bruton. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy, Shelby Aylin Kalm. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy with distinction, Emily Mickley Doyle. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy with distinction, Rebecca Mitchell. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy with distinction, Carlin Molander. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy, Julia Stroutman. Master of Food and Agriculture Law and Policy, Stephanie Ann Burns. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction, Itala Marie Colby. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Joellen Louise Jones, Esquire. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Rebecca A. Layton. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction, Natalie Laura Javier. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Juan Mancilla. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Carrie Lynn Michael. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction, Marissa G. Minkler. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction, Carly Nichols. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Ulana Ojibwe. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction, Stephanie Piccinini. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Christian Quigley. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice, Lydia Grace Van Osdel. Master of Arts in Restorative Justice with distinction, Israel Oluwansinyi Akimpindi. Master of Laws in Environmental Law. Chloe Sierra Hunter. Master of Laws in Environmental Law. Frederick Olikeyo. Master of Laws in Environmental Law. Fiza Zaidi. Master of Laws in Environmental Law. Marnie Avila Alvarez. Master of Laws in Energy Law. Ramon Luis Nieves. Master of Laws in Energy Law.
Congratulations.
Ashley Pinkney. Master of Laws in Energy Law with distinction. Julie Agar. Master of Laws in American Legal Studies. Justine LaRuelle. Master of Laws in American Legal Studies.
Okay. Members of the faculty, staff, Board of Trustees, alumni, families, and friends, please recognize with your applause the achievements and distinctions of Vermont Law and Graduate School's 47th graduating class, the class of 2023. Please be seated. President Smola will now give some closing remarks. President.
As we bring these proceedings to a close in this beautiful valley, this paradise, I lift up to all of you, to all of us, the remembrance that we celebrate here on the lands of the indigenous Abenaki peoples of Vermont. And indeed, we today honored Bruce Dutu for his indefatigable commitment to advancement of the rights and well-being of indigenous peoples around the world. In a few moments, you will hear the United States national anthem performed by my wife, Anya Smola. Anya was born and raised in Siberia in Russia. She left her native Russia with a deep love and affection for that wondrous nation and culture. Yet, why did she come here? Why did she become a citizen of the United States? She came for the reasons that people for generations have come. She came for the reasons that so many of us have ancestors who have come. She came for religious liberty. She came to join a society that embraced human rights. She came to be part of a society that respected the rule of law. And so, too, you heard the story of Vermont Supreme Court Justice Nancy Waples. Her family also fled a nation that they loved. Her family also migrated to the United States. And why? Once again grounded in the promise of American life. Justice Waples and my own wife, Anya, conjure for me a line from the magnificent Broadway play by Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alexander Hamilton. Immigrants, they get the job done. To all of you new graduates, new Vermonters, I hope you will forever remain in spirit, Vermonters, forever remain in spirit members of the Vermont Law and Graduate School. Yet what do I mean by that spirit? To those of you graduating with law degrees, with master's degrees, you came to this lovely valley to live and learn. And you've seen in the words of the song, the seasons come, the seasons go, the world green and white with snow. You arrived here from many nations in the world. You arrived here from many states of this nation. You came from many races and ethnicities, many faiths, many strains of politics and ideology. And you will go forth to practice in fields as vast as the curriculum that we have had here. Yet I suggest, whatever you choose to do, you share with each other and with all of us a certain communion and commonality and commitment today. It resonates, that spirit, in the many meanings of this moment. And so what are they? What are the meanings of this moment? Surely one of the meanings is love. For when our procession is over and you gather with hugs and handshakes and photographs and selfies with spouses and partners and siblings and parents and grandparents and other family and friends, the affectionate bonds you share will be seared in the memories of this day forever. I remember with crystalline clarity my own mom and dad, neither of whom had gone to college, hugging me on the grassy green in my cap and gown. I suggest to you a second meaning, not so much of love, but of light. You are joining a worldwide confraternity of those learned in the law and law-related policies. And in the march of human events, we stand for certain things. We stand for light, for the light of reason, for the light of civility, for the light of human rights, for the light of justice. We're not naive. We're not fools. We know that at every turn in American history, there are people that seek to extinguish the light. But we shall not surrender. We shall not surrender the planet to the future of our posterity, to the destructive forces of climate change. We shall not surrender the planet, the future of our posterity, to the destructive forces of social injustice. We shall instead heed the calling of the poet Dylan Thomas to not go gentle into that good night, but to rage, rage against the dying of the light. We shall heed the words of the great American spiritual, that just like a tree standing by the waterside, we shall not be moved. We shall heed the wisdom of the Upanishads to speak truth and practice righteousness. We shall heed the words of the prophet to not be satisfied until justice shall roll down like a river, and righteousness a mighty storm. And I leave you with a final meaning. For those of you graduates, whatever your biological age, today in spirit, you are young. You are young with hope. You are young with promise. You are young with dreams. I earlier quoted Dylan Thomas. Let me now quote another Dylan, Bob. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright, and be strong. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. Good luck, Godspeed.
Thank you, President Smola. I would like to thank our bagpiper, Benjamin Montrose, class of 2007. Who led the procession of musicians of the Royal Town Brass. I would also like to thank some of the staff of the Vermont Law School, all of the staff of the Vermont Law School, without whom none of this could have happened, but in particular, Courtney Potter, Teresa Johnson, Ashley Zia, and certainly last but not least, a person who I couldn't live without to do my job, and I think most of the Board of Trustees couldn't live without to do their job, and probably President Smola couldn't live without to do his job, Sue Folger. I'd like you to stand, Sue. Is Sue here? I don't see her. She's probably back at the school getting ready for the reception, knowing Sue. Where? Oh, okay. There she is. Again, thank you, Sue, for everything you do. After the rendition of the national anthem, sung by Anya Smola, the bagpiper and the students' marshals will lead the academic procession from the tent. I ask the audience to remain in place until the conclusion of the academic procession. The academic procession will proceed back to the campus. Family and friends may follow the procession to the campus, where you are invited to join us in greeting the graduates and share refreshments on the back lawn of Debevoise Hall. And now please stand for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can't you see by the light more, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, their bombs burst in the air, gave proof through the night that our flag still be there. Oh, say that the star-spangled banner yet
Karen Martin. Vice Chair Singer.